Good morning and welcome to another episode of SJU. Happy Monday, everyone. We have got a great table right now. We have got Mr. Joe Starr.
Definitely here right now.
Spencer Gilbert.
I'm at a barbecue.
Dan Murrell.
It's wonderful to be here live.
I am Danielle Radford, and as some of you know, in the U.S. it is Memorial Day, and so this is a pre-taped episode, but we wanted to use this as an opportunity. We're going to talk about some of our favorite creature designs, and we're going to answer some fan questions.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to get caught up, because I know that we've got some that y'all have been wanting us to answer, and so now we shall answer them. So, Victor, this is also based on a fan question. Victor asked us, what are some of your favorite creature designs in movie/TV shows? For Victor, it is the Xenomorphs and the bear from Annihilation, and we had some ideas also. Dan Murrell.
Well, those are two fantastic choices.
Yeah.
The bear from Annihilation particularly was such a great scene in that movie.
Yeah.
End of show.
Yeah, roll the credits.
And we're done.
It speaks to the Xenomorph that he got stopped in an airport because security saw his drawings and they were like, that dude's messed up. And
Wait, the Xenomorph was going through an airport?
No.
He draws some really weird, deviant
Two
art stuff.
Xenomorphs go into an airport.
One says, the fact that he was pulled aside because someone was like, oh, that guy's very disturbed and probably should not be on an airplane. It says enough for, how impactful all of his designs are. They're crazy.
H.R. Geiger's a stone cold freak, and I love him for it.
Stone cold freak.
And like his the Xenomorph stuff he designed, and then like his sex stuff that he drew and designed, there's a very blurred line.
Giger likes genitals is what we're saying.
He's very into things being ribbed and penetrative.
He was working some stuff out.
And what we all got to enjoy was the Xenomorph.
Yeah, and that is what art is for.
Yeah.
For me, one thing, this can't possibly be a shocker to anyone. I love porgs, guys. It's a penguin. It's a corgi. It was meant for me. It is Danielle bait. I love corgs. Look at its stupid little eyes. Look at its dumb nose.
What? Those are eyes of comprehension of
so
the
cute.
murder of its friend.
Yeah, no, that's...
Possibly mom or child.
Literal fire reflected in those eyes.
Yeah, I did not recognize that was from that scene. That's real dark. Glad we went there first
That's
thing in
his
the morning.
Inigo Montoya moment.
Yeah. You killed my
Swears
mother.
Revenge.
My favorite. What I love about the porg is that was a practical solution to where they were shooting, because there were just puffins everywhere in every shot, and there was no getting around them, and so they just had to come up with a way to get puffins off the screen, and their solve was a big merchandising opportunity. That's well done, well played. What if we could get rid of the puffins and sell a lot of plush toys?
Boom.
In one.
And then they
The
did.
Disney way.
That's brilliant. Yeah, the Disney way. Hide these puffins. Get some plush. Everything he did in Hellboy, everything he designed in Shape of Water. Del Toro is just another visual guy. Got his own style, a lot like everything Geiger did. When you look at a Del Toro sort of design, you know it's Del Toro because its hands are in its eyes, and it probably has gills, and it's practical.
Yeah.
Man, literally, I guess he's not a creature, but just anything Doug Jones does, anything that involves Doug Jones, including several very great episodes of Buffy. For me, obviously, Mac Tonight, which was his giant moon face.
I forgot that was Doug Jones.
That's Doug Jones, my friend. Back in the day, for y'all that don't know, because you were very young, McDonald's decided to move away from clowns and tell adults they could eat there. And part of their marketing campaign...
Late night
was, and that's when they started doing also combo meals, was they had a dude in a moon face.
Yep, Crescent Moon.
Doug Jones.
Who would sing a version of Mac the Knife that they were not authorized to use, and they did get sued. And so it's just Doug Jones vamping it out while this moon dude pretends to play the piano.
Mac Tonight sounds like the name of the first guy in a Shaft movie that has to get roughed up for selling to the kids.
It's also, if you've seen The Simpsons, they do a great Mac Tonight reference that if you did not get it, you will get it now.
Yeah.
Also, Grimace, Philip Seymour Hoffman, an early uncredited.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
I like fries.
That hit me in a deep place.
want a strawberry milkshake. Sorry.
I like the creatures in The Fifth Element. I think every frame of that movie you could pause and look at the aliens in the background, the diva being a prime example, but he went so far beyond the forehead wrinkles and really made every alien feel alien, from the ones in the beginning that are like the armadillos with the little heads to the kind of warthog ones with the things and the guns that chase him. Like, I guess as I'm saying out loud, even Zorg, even Gary Oldman is kind of an alien.
Or Ruby Rod. That's another one where that's a human, but the design on that movie is just so amazing.
Yeah. And talking about the aliens, the first two I mentioned, it's like, I think a lot of the good ones are like, you start with an animal. You start with something real. And porgs too, the puffins. Like, you start with something that actually exists in nature, and then you like do a caricature of it. You elongate certain things, you shorten certain things, you exaggerate stuff. And then you end up with something that's cool, but it's also like maybe somewhere in our brains it's believable, because like nature made them to like actually move and be able to work. And sometimes when you stray too far from that, like, it just doesn't pass the eye test. Or like a lot of CGI stuff, like, it doesn't have any like gravity to it. It doesn't have any weight. It looks like it's just kind of floating through space. So start with something real.
I think that's a really good call. Like, I harped on it early last week when we definitely didn't tape this episode, so it's not still on my mind. But like, again, Avatar: The Last Airbender, literally just every animal in that movie, in that series, is just two animals shoved together. It's a lion turtle. It's this. It's that. And they pass the test for that reason. Like, it's two things that we recognize as animals all smushed together in sort of fun and cute ways, and so you accept it all as not ridiculous.
Yeah, like when you go with something totally alien, I don't know, like, I can't even think of an example of that works, that's like, you can paint no reference to it. I was thinking even the things like in Arrival, that like, they're still like squids. Like, even though they're in like a smoke.
Yeah. Even the xenomorph is genitals. And like,
even the xenomorph is a penis.
It is. Someone had to say it.
Yeah. And it was, of course, going to be Dan. But yeah, he's built to, shoot things into your whatever and have stuff pop out of you. Yeah, that makes sense. Start with the real.
Start with the real.
I have a very soft spot in my heart for everything in the background in the cantina in Star Wars. Sure, all the important characters are great looking. Akbar is such a cool design. Chewbacca is such an amazing design. But I got such a place in my heart for just like, here's what we found. Here's a wolf mask that's also in an astronaut suit. Like, and then sort of barring off of that, like the early designs for Star Wars that never got used, like those art books are so cool, with just all these weird creature designs and stuff that don't end up in the movie. They pop up late, like they end up using them in like Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that. But some of it's just his early, just bizarre creature design stuff that did not end up on the big screen. So weird looking and fun.
Well, and again, I think that's when we're talking about the difference between a CGI and a practical. That is a great example of, obviously, the first trilogy, and then the difference in some of the criticisms that happened in the prequels was that nothing felt super real because everything was CGI'd.
Or racist.
Or both.
That is real. That's the most real thing that anyone has ever said on this. So, do we have any examples of where designs didn't quite work for you? I know
when they go
racist,
money. You've failed as a creature design. If you start with an ethnic stereotype and then you give it wings and then a snout and have it go Annie, you probably needed to.
How many credits? I mean, to make a deal.
You gotta start with something else.
That.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So that's step one.
Don't do that. That's more of a writing choice, really, to begin with, than a design
I think
choice.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it is one. I mean, that's the whole thing with Sonic. People, I can't speak for Sonic fandom, but I don't know that people care about lore and history and character of Sonic more than they just think Sonic looks really cool and goes real fast and looks really neat.
That dude has tude.
It seems like it goes wrong every time somebody takes a look at a creature that's like an animation, some kind of animated thing, and says, but what if we brought it into the real world?
No,
that seems to be when it goes wrong. And it's like when they redesigned the Ninja Turtles, when they redid Sonic.
The Goombas and Mario.
Yeah, you take something
King Koopa?
that is inherently otherworldly or animated, and you're like, I'm gonna ground it. It's like, no, maybe that's not a good idea.
But I think that like Pokemon was able to do that, or Detective Pikachu was able to do that because Pokemon are based on animals, so
Right.
it's not too big of a stretch to have them moving and living among
But
us.
they didn't give Pikachu like a snout and like
Yeah, they-
realistic proportions and like a straight tail
didn't-
and like
yeah.
Paint
what would
Danny
Pikachu
DeVito
look like
yellow.
if it was real? Like
Yeah.
they took Pikachu and they just made him like photo real, but they kept the design the same because
They gave Sonic the legs of a boy.
Well, and that's,
Sold.
you know, and with Lickitung, that actually wound up being terrifying, but they kept it so real. Why is he wet? Anyway, like, why is he...
It's half tongue.
That's fair.
It's a lot of glands. Yeah.
Tongues are wet. And so this brings us to another question that someone had. I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong. Kavya, I believe. So Kavya was wondering what the difference is between special effects and animation nowadays. Pikachu is a great example of something like that, where it is considered to be a live action movie, not an animated movie. The example that Kavya gives is the upcoming Lion King, which is technically CGI. If it were nominated for Best Film Picture Oscar, do you think it would be in the animated category or the Best Film category?
but it could be in both.
Yeah.
Well,
because I think
if it's
animation.
deemed animated, it could be in both.
Yeah,
Right.
I think a lot of animation deserves to be in the Best Picture category, but it's a cartoon. The new Lion King's a cartoon.
Just fuzzier.
There's not people in it. Is where Roger Rabbit is a live action movie with cartoon elements. Pokemon, The World of Pokemon Presents Detective Pikachu. Is that the complete title of the movie?
Yes.
Is a live action movie with animated elements. This is a cartoon. It's a very photorealistic cartoon.
Yeah, it's the lines are blurring. Like the
Right.
Jungle Book is live action because Mowgli is a live action element consistently throughout the film, even if everything else around them. But this is where you
Avatar's live action.
Avatar's live action,
Yeah.
even though it's mostly computer generated. You still have live action actors, but this is the blurring of the line of it's the Andy Serkis thing. It's like because it's a CG performance. I know we've had our disagreements on this. Because it's a motion capture performance that's an animated. Is it a performance or is it an effect?
Right.
What is where do you draw the line? Or the lion in this case.
Hey.
But I would say that if with the Lion King, if there are no actual live action elements in it, if it's fully rendered in a computer, then it's animated. Even
What
if
if
it
they
looks
use, and I
photoreal.
don't know if this is true or not, what if they use real sets? You know, if they build, Pride Rock or something like that. And
then you blur the line
Yeah.
because then you have live action elements and then it's I don't know.
What if they just put Beyonce's face in the corner and she just does Homecoming?
sure.
Beyonce's face needs to be like Mufasa's head in the
Starr,
like,
the whole
I just
time.
want her character to be in the clouds always, and it's Beyonce live action.
I'm Beyonce.
I was thinking of much more like in any movie, like you can just hit a button and Beyonce's face would just go like in a corner. And
Beyonce
she's like,
vision.
"Do we want any bugaboos?" And then like you just hear a crowd of people from Coachella like, "No!" And they're like, "Yeah." I think it speaks to like the technology, like how far it's come that we even have that conversation about Lion King, because we did not have this conversation about like Final Fantasy Spirits Within, which
I
tried very hard to be photorealistic.
Ooh,
I talked a lot about
uncanny valley.
Gaia to myself, but I think that it's gonna get interesting if, say, there's a movie where everyone's digitally de-aged or something like that.
Oh, when they remake A New Hope, my friend, that's when it happens. That is when it happens. They're testing the water with what's the cartoon that they're doing on Disney Channel right now? It's like it's just audio and dialogue from Star Wars, but they've just made it animated better.
Wow.
It's animated gooder. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but
Shake
yeah,
that one off. I think that as the line is going to blur more and more when you're then doing. I think it's pretty clearly animated because they didn't train lines to do that. But
You don't know.
We don't know. You're right. But when they're starting to do an effect to a human actor the entire film, or to all the human actors, then we're going to get into some weird territory.
Yay, making it weird.
Also, speaking of, we trained lions to do that. You should watch Roar. You got it. You got to see
Did.
Roar, the lion movie about when they tried to make the movie about lions using a ton of real lions.
Didn't work.
Did not work.
Don't
Like
use
a
my
Milo
line.
Notice
The
situation
documentary
in
about it
reverse.
is amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Gotta watch it. Yeah, it's a full-on reverse Milo.
Oh no.
Also, watch Lion. Not about lions. to just fully confuse you all. Yeah.
Lion is a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about other movies because we've got Fluffy Pro, who I love this question because it's so simple. What movie should I watch this week, old or new? That's great.
All right.
Anybody have
Very straightforward.
besides
Any
Roar?
film. Pick a film. Pick a film.
Look, I'm going to fail you, Fluffy Pro, because I have no movies for you. I only have shows that you should watch.
That's great.
Okay.
Show number one is Warrior, which is Deadwood if Bruce Lee made Deadwood. It's awesome. It's about sort of turn of the century Chinatown. It's phenomenal.
Bruce
the
Lee
action's
really wrote it? And then
this is based on, from what I understand, his daughter's producing it. It is based on a show that he was pitching, and then out of the batch of stuff he was trying to make, they were like, "What about this?" And then David Carradine does it, and we never talk to you again. It was sort of in that pile of stuff that he wanted
Did
to
that
make.
become
Kung Fu?
Kung Fu?
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably elements of it became Kung Fu, but it's awesome. It's really, really good. The action's great. The characters are cool. It's shot really, really, really well. So that's suggestion number one. Watch Warrior.
That sounds great. Fellas.
I mean, Network, Casablanca, There Will Be Blood, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Jaws, Shaun of the Dead, Spartacus, the filmography of Stanley Kubrick minus his first two movies, which
Well,
is
have you
shorter
seen
but not
anything
great.
recently that you're like, you watch more movies than any of us combined? Like, is there anything recent that you're like, go seek it out while it's in theaters? Or
Well, one that Spencer that I watched recently that Spencer had been crowing about was Barry Lyndon.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just
Big
watched.
Lyndon head. Medieval
Scarface. Anything by Sidney Lumet, Dog Day Afternoon, Network, as I mentioned before. He's a great filmmaker. It's so the best of Hitchcock's. North by Northwest, Vertigo, the Birds. The Birds. Actually, the Birds is a little bit slow. It's a little slow. It's, to be honest,
I take back the Birds.
Not that it's bad, but it's a little. I wouldn't jump right into the Birds. I might go with like a Shadow of a Doubt, which is a great Hitchcock movie, and Strangers on a Train, which is a great Hitchcock movie, which are older. I mean, I could do this.
I literally just want to make you
Yeah.
name movies. One movie a lot of people haven't seen, and it wound up being one of my favorites. There's a documentary called Double Dare, and it follows Zoe Bell from the time when she was doing Xena, and she was doing the stunts and the fighting for that, through her getting cast in Kill Bill as obviously the double. And there's also another, and gosh, I wish I can remember her name right now. I can't, and it bums me out. It follows her and the parallel of an older lady stunt double and how their careers go, and a bunch of other stunt doubles. And it's amazing.
That sounds really
it's
cool.
Yeah, it's really, really well done.
I'm just really let down that it's not about a family who finds out they're going to be on Double Dare. And it rips
Well, that's
them apart.
your movie. That's the movie you
I
made.
wanted to know what was going on with Harvey.
Yeah.
I got a weird vibe from Harvey. I'm sure he's a nice man.
There's no pie in those cream pies.
No, it's all whipped cream.
It's probably shaving cream and just a
Yeah,
tin.
yeah.
They didn't have the budget for that.
Well, yeah, you can't manage all those ants if that's a nose full of whipped cream.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's got to be a non-sugar substance, you guys.
There's just so many ants. Spencer, do you have any movies?
I guess going retro.
Ants.
Ant-Man.
Double Dare.
Retro, I've been watching Robert Altman movies, The Long Goodbye, and then this one I just saw that I loved called California Split. That's just about two degenerate gamblers gambling binge. And if you know his films, they're very real, and there's like a lot of just natural dialogue and overlapping. It's like you have a window into these sick, degenerate gamblers' lives, but it makes you think about all the ways in which we're addicts to something and what it does to people. But more modern, I just saw John Wick 3. Go see John Wick 3. It's like one of the better live theater experiences I've had in a while.
Right on.
Everyone is just like, oh! And there are a lot of whoa moments in this one, and I think
I'm
you should
so
see
ready
it with
for
a
that.
crowd.
You've been watching a lot of Altman. I've been watching a lot of Corman lately.
Nice.
And if you'd never seen Surf Nazis Must Die, it's a damn experience. Go as far down the Corman gutter as you possibly can. Like, if you really love movies and you love the idea of someone who was like, we've got a camera and a roll of duct tape and $15 and let's make a film, like, the further down you go down like the Corman rabbit hole, like the better and more rewarding it gets. And that movie is insane and repellent and weird, and mostly just takes place on 20 square feet of beach because they had no money to make it. And yeah.
That is amazing. I do have one more. This is a show also. I have been watching Chernobyl. It is not an easy watch, but it is a very good watch. I recommend it to everyone. And also, it's that guy that's always on Twitter talking about how he was Ted Cruz's roommate. He's the one who wrote Chernobyl, which is so weird and random. But yeah, it's great.
Script Notes podcast host. What's his name? Oh, it's either John August or the damn, I'm failing.
We're failing.
You're doing a me. It's okay.
It's the other guy.
Yes, there is a podcast that goes along with
wrote
every
Big Fish.
episodes. Yeah,
That's John August. Then.
Okay,
Works
then it's
at
the
Burton
other
all
guy.
Okay.
but yeah, there's a podcast that goes along with it that's a companion, because as we talk about, when you do real things, some things you have to fictionalize just because real world is kind of boring. Even something as mind-boggling and mind-blowing as that is. And so and I'm not giving anything away, because the theme of it is so much about how fiction can have real-world consequences when you're trying to craft a story around something. He wanted to make sure that he told the real story somewhere else, so it's not a weird, ironic thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's really, really good.
Is it like just Longer, Sadder, Grave of Fireflies, or is it...
That'd be tough.
It's not easy.
Okay.
It is important, and the acting is good, and everything about it is good. It's not a feel-good thing.
Got it.
You don't,
okay.
you don't walk away from it feeling great.
Got it.
Just like the real Chernobyl.
Yes. I share my life in an apartment with a legitimate nuclear scientist, and she has often told me this is on our list to watch, because she's Mara is she wants to watch and she's scared to watch, because one of her pet peeves is how often and ruinously wrong movies and television get, like nuclear science and physics and stuff. So she's like, we're gonna watch like trepidatiously, because she's told me the story of Chernobyl, and it's just like and it's not just the disaster, it's like everything afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
And we this is going to be either great watching for us, and she's going to be very happy that they got it right, or it's going to be tough, because it's gotten me now to the point where it's like, when somebody says that a reactor is going to go critical, that's good. You want that. Okay. So now, anytime that we're watching something and somebody's just like, the reactor's going to go critical, like we look at each other and I'm just like, I get to feel smart, because I'm just drafting off of her intelligence in that area.
Do y'all's partners have a thing, like a reactor's going to go critical thing that they watch for in movies? That's like that drives me crazy.
Not so. I mean, as long as we're bragging about our significant others.
Brag.
Mine was on Broadway, so she's just super critical of other people's singing and dancing.
Oh,
and I'm like,
fair.
they're good. She's like, they're terrible.
No.
Mine's just like a DP, but also, so my ex used to work at a steel mill. He was like, what? You see where I'm going.
We
with
work
this.
hard, we play harder.
That's one of them. But so he worked at, and his job was actually, and I'm going to leave it here as soon as I say it, to know at what temperature steel beams melt. That's literally, that was his entire job.
Isn't that just one fact, though? Like,
I know the temperature.
It's the one fact that unlocks everything.
I would need. You'd be shocked how often I need that fact. The difference between liquidus and completely melting is crazy, y'all.
Yeah, Tor, it's just who can and can't ride a horse is her main one. If you clearly just got on a horse for the first time a week after you got cast in this, she like the whole time you're on camera riding by on that horse, she's just like, what the hell are you doing? Sit down in the saddle.
That is great. We all have fantastic significant others. If you would like to brag about your significant other, you can do that in the comments down below.
Bragging. I was just talking about
bragging is dope.
He said I was bragging. I'm not bragging. But I'm also very proud, yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a couple more questions, but first, I want to remind y'all, we are SJ News. We are still the same as Fandom Entertainment. Remember to subscribe. Oh, and check out Power Levels, which is our new show where we use math to solve fiction, which is so good. And y'all worked really hard on it, and I loved the first episode. It was great.
So people will have to make another one.
We're going to make another one, and that is also fantastic. So yeah, like, subscribe, hit that bell. Nope.
Ryan's not even paying attention. He didn't care about us at all.
It's past.
All right, so we'll wrap up with a couple of questions here. I thought this one was really interesting because, I tend to lean into the comedy. So what was the best comedy of the last 5 years? I'm really excited about this because I feel like we don't talk as much about these kind of mid-range comedies. So that was Jacob, who said am I just nostalgic for the Apatow movies of the early 2000s, or are there less truly hilarious comedies nowadays?
There are.
Studio comedies,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
They're smaller comedies still,
I
but
think
yes.
I think people get nostalgic for the Apatow wave because that was like a really that was almost like where National Lampoon was like, here's a big stamp on comedy. Like the Apatow's genre was like, boom, like here's a huge stamp on comedy movies. And then when sort of that wave ended, it was like, what next? Because he made a huge impact just on style and feel. And I have a question for you guys, because this affects my answer. Is Magic Mike XXL a comedy about strippers, or a movie about strippers that happens to be funny sometimes?
Yeah.
I think it's
Tricky.
a movie about strippers that happens to be funny.
Okay, then.
But it's
Yeah, 'cause
hilarious.
there's some darkness in that film as well.
Okay,
And
then I
the
disqualify.
yeah, the first one is definitely took itself too seriously, which is why everyone likes the second one and doesn't like the
Yes.
first one as much.
Accurate.
Because I definitely went in with a bunch of people and we were ready for not a bachelorette party vibe, but we were definitely ready to see some funny stuff and some dancing, and
They're all like, we're broken and this wrecked us. And you're like,
it's 2 hours of watching Channing Tatum make crappy furniture. Like, who has time?
And your steel mill X is like, that's not the temperature you melt furniture at. Unrealistic.
Unrealistic. It's awful. So for me, there was a ton of
this
really
dance
good
just got
comedies.
critical.
See, that would be a good thing. There are a ton of really good comedies for me. I loved Game Night.
Game Night's really good.
Game Night's really funny.
Yeah,
I agree.
Thor Ragnarok, is that a comedy? I
I'd
laughed
call
a lot
that an action comedy.
during that one. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like a buddy action comedy. I think that this is a genre that it's either migrated to television. Like, comedy is now on TV because it doesn't really make sense for studios to make comedies anymore, because they used to make their money on the comedies by selling DVDs.
Yep.
And people don't buy DVDs anymore. It used to be you would buy, Borat or Knocked Up or any comedy that came out.
And then you would buy the director's cut.
You buy the
Yeah.
unrated director's cut.
And then
or
you
the
throw it on
extended
parties.
one. Yeah,
Boobs.
exactly. And that doesn't exist anymore. And also, like, comedy doesn't translate to China, and it doesn't, like, people all over the world don't really get Superbad. But so it just got squeezed out and squeezed onto television. So yeah, I thought Game Night was really funny. I thought Blockers was super funny.
Blockers
But
was great. Yeah.
I think there's a reason why you don't see as many, and why they hopefully there will be great ones, but, like, don't hold your breath, because I think even all the talent has migrated to television also.
And a lot of those are on Netflix now. Like, a lot of those great comedies are now just
Yeah.
being straight up. Especially, we've seen it happen with romantic comedies, where a lot of romantic comedies are just going straight to Netflix. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, more of them go. Everyone's got a streaming service. You got to put something on it.
Yep.
Yep.
And comedies are cheaper to make than, The Expanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the statute of limitations is out on The World's End. I think it's a little more than 5 years old. Deadpool.
Yep.
I'd count
Yep.
that.
Nice Guys.
I like The Nice Guy. The Big Sick.
Yep.
One of my
Ooh.
favorite. I laughed harder at one of the jokes in The Big Sick than I probably laughed at a joke in many, many years.
Mel is a
one joke in
genius. Him
particular.
and Emily.
The Lobster.
Interesting.
It's an offbeat comedy.
All right.
But it's also extremely dark. I don't know if
Yeah.
it counts. It's like an absurdist comedy.
I am
And
the
then-
comedy judge, and I say it counts.
And then I agree with you on Game Night. That was one of my favorite movies from last year.
Ingrid Goes West.
Ingrid
The
Goes-
most uncomfortable laughter.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very awkward. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a hybrid. That's a tough one. Long Shot is in some theaters now. I liked it. Not a lot of people went to see it, but I thought it was really funny, and a very kind of, it is sort of a throwback a little bit to the more classic comedies. But yeah, a lot of studio comedies now.
I've always been.
suck.
I've
Not
always
good.
What We Do in the
What
Shadows.
We Do in the Shadows, that's a good one. Thank you,
Let
TT.
me pick a different one to say, as JT just ventriloquisted me. I've always
Couldn't wait.
I've always been surprised that Spy hasn't hit like Tommy Boy level
Spy's
cult
good,
classic
yeah.
status
I
for
liked
people. It's really fun. I think we've named all the comedies.
Well, Girls
I'm
Trip.
sure there's
Girls Trip was a
one-
great one.
Girls
Yeah.
Trip, yeah.
Except for all the pee and stuff, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, minus the P. That was weird.
That's unnecessary, but
I
it's
think
fine.
you guys are right. The TV, like all the weird, crazy stuff has moved to TV. Like Pen 15 is phenomenal. Sex Education on Netflix is super funny and super good. And
Really funny.
I don't think studios would have ever released those as features. Definitely not Pen 15.
No.
Although if it had been released as an independent movie made with $10,000, I definitely would have loved it and treasured it.
Yeah, mid '90s was that
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
from coming from the other direction. It's just it's sadly a bad business. So you're to make comedy movies right now. So you're not going to see many comedy movies right now, but you can still watch YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube still exists.
You can still watch, people like pull pranks on convenience store owners on Snapchat.
On the daily. Yeah.
Pranks are the worst thing in the world. There's no purpose to a prank other than to be like, I made you feel a thing. You're stupid.
Isn't that storytelling?
Not when it's contemptuous.
Yeah.
Contemptuous storytelling.
Like that would be like if you bought a ticket to the Big Sick and it only the price of it was it throws the soda you bought in your face and laughs at you while you're watching it.
Well, okay.
I am calling pranks contemptuous storytelling from now on, though. That's the new name of the genre.
All right, we have named the new genre, so I think it's time for us to go ahead and get out of here. It is tomorrow. So tonight we will not be doing charting because of the holiday. So there will be no charting. We will be doing it tomorrow.
Same with Honest Trail commentaries, because I ain't coming in early to do that. I'm not taking my Memorial Day. I'm eating a burger right now.
We're all well.
Unless we can finish
this
in time and we record it on Friday, which would be
There we go.
In which case,
yesterday.
never mind.
In
Yeah.
which case,
It would
never
have
mind.
been two days ago. 3
This
days
has
ago? 3
been
days
We
ago.
Work Out Our Work Schedule.
We'll work it out on there.
All right, and we will see you, and we will be back live tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.